Alright, so I'm going to try and make another quick segment for tonight. Starting off, we got this story that's going on in the Middle East. It kind of developed over the weekend, but there was a drone in Jordan that wound up, I think it killed 3 U.S. service members and it killed, it killed 3 service members and injured a further 25. It seems like this was probably the work of some Iranian-backed troop. We got the story from the AP. I'm just going to read through it real quick. So, U.S. forces may have mistaken an enemy drone for an American one and let it pass unchallenged into a desert base in Jordan, where it killed 3 U.S. troops and wounded dozens more, officials said Monday. So this is all extremely odd. I I've seen some speculation online that this was, I guess you can say, a false flag. I guess. I mean, it seems like it could be, but it's like I don't know. I don't really know how radar works. I don't know how hard it would be to identify an American drone versus an enemy drone, but I assume that the error could happen. It's in the realm of possibility, I suppose. But then again, maybe it's all just completely fake. To be honest, I don't know. As someone who's still draftable and doesn't want a war in the Middle East, I am naturally concerned about all this. But just because you're concerned doesn't mean you can necessarily control the outcome. What we do know so far is that 3 people died, 25 injured. It seems like this is causing a particularly large amount of frustration for, I guess you can say, the establishment or U.S. government in terms of their operations over there. This thing might be escalating. We'll just keep reading it, but we'll get to the escalation quickly. Details of the Sunday attack emerged as President Joe Biden faced a difficult balancing act, blaming Iran and looking to strike back in a forceful way without causing any further escalation of the Gaza conflict. I don't think that's possible. I think the Gaza conflict is directly tied to all of this, but good luck. As the enemy drone was flying in at a low altitude, a U.S. drone was returning to the small installation known as Tower 22, according to a preliminary report cited by 2 officials who were not authorized to comment and insisted on anonymity. As a result, there was no effort to shoot down the enemy drone that hit the outpost. One of the trailers where troops sleep sustained the brunt of the strike, while surrounding trailers got limited damage from the blast and flying debris. While there are no large air defenses at Tower 22, the base does have counter-drone systems such as Coyote drone interceptors. Aside from the soldiers killed, the Pentagon said more than 40 troops were wounded in the attack, most with cuts, bruises, brain injuries, and similar wounds. 8 were medically evacuated, including 3 who were going to Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany. The other 5, who suffered minor traumatic brain injuries, were expected to return to duty. Some serious ordnance on board a drone. Asked if the failure to shoot down the drone was human error, Pentagon spokeswoman Sabrina Singh responded that the U.S. Central Command was still assessing the matter. The Pentagon identified those killed in the attack as Sergeant William Jerome Rivers, Kenny Layden Sanders, and Brianna Alexandria Moffett. All in all, this is an unfortunate incident, I'd say, but again, it's part of the escalating conflict that's going on in the Middle East. There are concerns right now from Browse Alerts that they reported. I forget who originally found it. Was it Sky News? I'm not sure, but there are concerns that World War III is essentially happening, or that essentially that the U.S. is under Biden will authorize military intervention in Yemen probably tonight. And so, well, I'll wake up tomorrow morning and figure out if that's true or not. But I don't know. Hoping it doesn't lead to any sort of a broader war. But you can never be sure about these things. In any case, that's just the main concern. I did a quick Google search. Couldn't find anything on it. If I search for Sky News, I might find it. Let's just add that in there. See if that helps. Middle East latest. Drone mix-up led to deadly attack on U.S. soldiers. Pentagon names victims. By Daily Wire. Biden had been accused again of previewing to the enemy in its response to 3 dead U.S. soldiers. Okay. We'll just go over the Daily Wire story real quick. President Joe Biden and his administration are being accused of telegraphing their alleged forthcoming punches against Iran and its terrorist proxy groups in the Middle East after 3 U.S. soldiers were killed in a terror attack over the weekend. Sky News reported Monday afternoon that Biden was preparing to authorize U.S. military action against those responsible for the attack as early as tonight, thus potentially tipping them off. Shortly after the suicide attack, the suicide drone attack was carried out on Sunday. The Iranian-backed terrorists responsible for the attack evacuated their posts and spread out their most valuable equipment in anticipation of U.S. airstrikes. Well, of course, but that's probably their standard procedure by now. We've probably hit them enough, or they've been hit enough that they know that if you don't spread out, they might come back to bomb you in return. But this is interesting because essentially it sounds like they were kind of telegraphing the moves and exposing themselves, I guess. I don't know. Again, these are accusations. They're not necessarily proof yet. People are already kind of upset about it, though. We got this thing from Malcolm Flex, basically comparing how Trump's Middle East policy led to the Abraham Accords, Biden's Middle East policy led to the Afghanistan disaster. Then we also had everything that's going on in the Middle East right now. We had a war in Ukraine. So under Trump, you have conflicts ending, you have peace agreements, Abraham Accords, Kosovo, Serbia. There was something with Morocco, maybe. Under Biden, essentially, you have all these new conflicts popping up. I think this is a fairly accurate thing to point out. Yeah, hopefully it never really comes to that. Other story I want to talk about tonight. We're going to be talking about the Texas border. As someone who lives in Texas, I am particularly concerned about all this. So apparently our land commissioner has says that Biden stopped liquefied natural gas exports in a move of retaliation for Texas, basically defying the national government. This is something that I agree with personally, where I agree that he probably did do it in retaliation. I mean, it makes sense. The state starts acting beyond the control of the federal government gets angry. It'll do things like withhold funding, contracts, and in this case, exports of natural gas. So I think that's a fairly good chance this is related, and you could always claim that the broader environmental concerns as a way to get around and beat around the bush, but come on. This thing coming out at the same time as this conflict, very likely that it's related. It's late. Alright, so the other thing that I want to talk about, the Border Patrol. So it has a union called the National Border Council. This is important because this Border Patrol union for their employees, it sounds like it's a fairly right-wing group, and they're opposed to what the Biden administration has been doing, but they're still begrudgingly going along with it because that's just the way the conservatives are. They don't really like rebelling, or at least they don't like soft rebelling. There's a system, they want to adhere to it, they want to be honorable, even if they disagree with it. It takes a lot to get them to fully break off and say no. Anyhow, what's important is that this group is basically saying that, hey, you know what, we're in agreement with Texas, and it's a union of Border Patrol employees. I remember they had a spokesman around the time that this stuff started coming out, when this conflict heated up about a week ago, where they said that Texas was actually enhancing border security. Anyhow, it sounds like they have no plans to remove razor wire, so Biden may be ordering them to do so, but they're saying, not going to do it. Anyhow, we're just going to read a story from Fox News, or Yahoo News, I should say. Border Patrol has no plans to remove razor wire placed by Texas along the southern border, a senior Customs and Border Patrol official told Fox News on Friday, stressing a strong relationship with Texas despite an ongoing legal battle between the state and the administration. Texas is currently locked in a multi-pronged legal fight with the federal government over the security of the Texas-Mexico border. The federal government has threatened legal action over Texas's recent seizure of Shelby Park near Eagle Pass, while lawsuits are ongoing over the administration's cutting of razor wire set up by Texas and the establishment of buoys in the Rio Grande. Texas has declared that it has a right to self-defense against what it sees as a migrant invasion. So yeah, you got the Monday Supreme Court ruling, basically saying that they can do it, and CBP is basically saying, yeah, we know we can do it. Also doesn't mean that we have to. So who knows what might be going on behind the scenes. Biden's probably ordering them to do it. They could be just gradually saying, no, we're not going to keep breaking the law on your behalf and acting as human smugglers. I hope that's the case, but never know. I hope that this disobedience to breaking the law, like when the authority tells you to break the law, I believe you have an obligation to ignore them. If anything, you should arrest them for advocating for breaking the law. But, take what you can get. If CBP is at least willing to stop coordinating with a corrupt administration, take the win. Doesn't mean I don't want more of a win, but it is what it is. So, bottom line, Border Patrol has no plans to remove infrastructure placed by Texas along the border. Our posture remains the same. If we need to access an area for emergency response, we will do so. When that happens, we will coordinate with Texas DPS and TMD. That'd be Department of Public Safety and Texas Military Department. Then it goes on. Paxton is promising that the fight's not over. SCOTUS still has to deliver its ruling. They've only said that in the meantime until they deliver the ruling that the Biden admin could remove the razor wire, but CBP is basically saying we won't do it. Anyhow, I think I kind of want to end on this other thing. So, I do have my concerns about whether or not the Republicans are serious about trying to actually stop this invasion of illegal immigrants. So there's a couple sources I've noticed so far. One is this guy, Free Speech Studios. His name is Joseph Trimmer, I think. He seems to be some sort of journalist. He's down here at the border at Shelby Pass, or Eagle Pass, Shelby Park. Anyhow, he's talking about how this gate's left open. I looked at his Twitter. There's posted a couple things on there, but I don't know, maybe I'm dumb, but I couldn't really find anything else about him, or some sort of a broader source of information, or a longer report. He did this at about 11 a.m. He's basically complaining that this gate's been left open. It's 2 miles from Shelby Park, where Texas National Guard is currently set up. He's making a big deal out of it. I mean, it's significant, but it's 2 miles away. It's a very short drive by car. They could be passing back and forth a lot because you might have to get to the other side of the border, apprehend migrants, conduct some sort of operation, whatever. So they could consider it a pain. Plus, I don't see any cameras to monitor the site on that fence, but maybe they're somewhere else. Doesn't mean that there aren't cameras looking for when people are coming. So if it's 2 miles away, it's presumably not very hard to check up on. There's this other thing, though. This Daily Wire reporter, Spencer. Well, first we'll finish with Joseph Trimmer. This is one thing that he posted. Free Speech Studios. Oh, no, that's not it. Got some more videos here. Fairly significant stuff. I recommend going to check him out. Like, again, this is one source that I've seen so far, basically saying that what's going on the border, what Texas is doing, is a farce, and that the convoy headed there, not really much of a point in it because they're just going to keep doing the same thing. Or that CBP and National Guard are more concerned about the convoy, and then it'll be turned into some sort of J6 event. Maybe. Or maybe it's real. Maybe there really is a crisis at the border, and Texas is actually standing up for its people. Like, I'm used to having GOP disappoint me. I could be wrong. Just keep scrolling down. It's got some more stuff. Again, I recommend checking out his stuff just to kind of like familiarize yourself with it. He's got some good points, but always take everything with a grain of salt. Look at it critically. The other thing I wanted to look at, basically my questions that I wanted to have of this one thing that I saw. It looks like he posted up some new stuff since I last checked up on him. So, definitely look at it. I'll have to look at it too. Spencer Lundquist also did some, or Lindquist? I'm probably getting that name wrong. In any case, he did some reporting for Daily Wire. This is the same guy who broke the Colony Ridge story for Daily Wire. So this is a summation of what's going on over there. From all accounts, Texas National Guard has been successful at halting illegal crossings into Shelby Park, but foreign nationals continue to enter the country and the surrounding area while Border Patrol remains in control. Yeah, that's true. And it also has some stuff in here about how the Texas National Guard is essentially putting these migrants, a Guatemalan family, on a bus. Same thing applies over here. Oh, well, this is a trash dump that the border got turned into. This is an adult male getting on another bus like that. So again, there are definitely reasons to be concerned. Got to keep a critical eye open for GOP leaders. I mean, it's unfortunate, but you can't always trust them because, again, spineless and pathetic a lot of times. Anyhow, that's all I really want to talk about. Thanks for listening. Consider liking and subscribing, and have a good night. Bye.